got to tell y'all about this thing called life. You know I got to share it. See, there's this thing called life. I got to tell y'all. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 168 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's special guest is Leigh Grode. She is a teacher and experiencer based in Los Angeles, California. Leigh specializes in life transitions and spiritual growth with an emphasis on recovery and end-of-life issues for individuals and families. Leigh is a certified channel, voice medium, and spiritual intuitive. She is an internationally recognized Energy Leadership Index Master Practitioner. She received her training from the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, iPEC. She has over 40 years in recovery and is an expert on addiction issues. As a pioneering member of the LGBTQA Community, Leigh has been a longtime advocate for civil rights. Before starting her career as a life coach, Leigh was the owner of a successful and still thriving bakery business. Thank you so much, Leigh, for being here. It's an honor.
It's an honor to be with you too, Omar. Thank you for the invite.
No, thank you. Absolutely. And of course, I got to ask you, what exactly is, what was it right here? Energy Leadership Index Master Practitioner.
Okay, that's a really good question. It is a person who trained in the ability to understand by certain variables where we put our energy and how we function, whether we're in our lower realm, our middle realm, or our higher realm, and where we place our energy if we're stuck in a certain place, and how to transcend that.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how did you go about training for that?
Well, I actually life taught me it and recovery taught me that, but it got reconfigured when I studied with iPEC, and they gave me tangible tools. And the irony is that we all got tested in this way in our class, and I scored the highest.
Oh,
That
wow.
I was like, yeah, the most integrated person there was in the group.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of questions I could ask you just based on your bio, but we'll just go with what I normally do is start with the beginning, right? So obviously, like you said, you're a medium, you channel. So I always like to find out, were you already experiencing this as a child, or is this something that developed, you've had multiple NDEs. So is this something that developed after, or were you already experiencing this as a child?
I believe I was experiencing my spiritual prowesses that I didn't know were prowesses as a child before my NDE. As a little witty kid, I would have these bizarre experiences in my crib,
Mm.
and I didn't know how to interpret them, being that I was less than a year old, 2 years old, but. I had energetic experiences where my toys would come to life and move around my crib, and
Oh, wow.
I freaked and ran out the door. Um, I ran away from a lot of spiritual experiences. I have to say that's consistent. It happened again later on before my NDE, visiting with my mother or when my grandmother was dying. I I woke up in the middle of the night, living in San Francisco. She was in the Bronx, New York, and I woke up screaming, "No, grandma!"
Mm.
And I called, and this is before computers and cell phones and all the tools we have available today. And so I called my brother. I waited till 6 in the morning so it would be somewhat decent. And I said, "Listen, Matt, we have to get back to New York. Grandma's dying."
Mm.
And my brother, who was studying to be a lawyer and at that time, was very questioning of everything. And he didn't question me at all. He said, "Can you get down here?" I said, "Yeah, I'll get down there." And I got to Los Angeles, and then we flew out to New York. And we were trying to get hold of our families at every payphone we passed.
Oh,
And
wow.
nobody was answering the phone. Then finally, my aunt was at my grandmother's house, and she picked up the phone, and Matt told her that we were in New York and we wanted to know which hospital grandma was in, and Linda said, "Well, how'd you know?"
Oh, wow.
And he said, "I didn't, Lee did, and here we are." And they still never took it for seriously. And I always had that sense of knowing. Like I would get visions, I could see things, and anything from like my grandmother's hearing aid falling out of her ear and it was under her right shoulder, and they were all, where's mama's hearing aid, where's mom? I'm saying it's under her shoulder, nobody would hear me.
Mm.
And then I just lift her up and say, here's her here's her hearing
Wow.
aid. To finding my mother didn't lock her back door
Uh-oh.
for like 4 months. And I went to visit her in New York. And I said, why is your back door unlocked? And she said, well, I lost my keys. I said, you lost your keys? I said, let's go for a walk. And I saw where her keys were
Mm.
in my mind's eye. And I walked up to the keys and I went, here's your keys. Please lock the door.
Mm.
And we walked on and her mouth fell open, And so it was like, I've always had these kind of abilities. I just never focused on them. And
Mm.
that's anybody can do channeling if that's really what their tug is. If they're not interested, they won't do it. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with anything in life. We don't ever want for what doesn't already exist
Mm.
because it's not in the parameters of who we are as beings on the planet. So we only want for that we can't quite touch because life has happened and we have a lot of experiences, or some people call them traumas or dramas, or victimizations, all these patternings that influence our connection and interrupt our connection with our inner selves and our higher selves and our ultimately our creator and source of all things.
Mm.
So my work is to help people identify those things and get them out of the way so they can feel connected.
Oh wow. No, that's beautiful. And like how you were saying, wow, I know that's jumping ahead, but since you mentioned that, for example, you said currently, right, you're helping people navigate through these energies.
Right,
And for you, it's important to keep a middle position
right,
because if not, it doesn't help you do your
it,
work.
right.
You mind explaining a little bit about that? Because I get that. So I resonate with that a lot. So you
Yeah,
might,
well,
yeah.
many of us that do resonate with that. And I would say to each and every one of us who does resonate that way, don't let it go. Don't be distracted from that truth. It's a truth. It's a higher frequency, higher level truth. The truth is we're not here to judge or persecute or be separate. We're here to unify. So if if we have things standing in the way, whether it's a belief system, a behavior, or whatever, it's a thinking thing because that sets the intention for action. So we need to clear that stuff away. So staying in the middle, what does that mean? It means not getting too hot or too cold, but holding the space right there so that we can allow the frequency of love, divine love, non-human love,
Mm.
because when you and I and everyone around us connects in that space of love, it's no longer a human and isolated experience, it's a shared experience. And that vibration that is of two people's love coming together creates a frequency and sometimes even a vortex of love. And
Mm.
that's what this planet needs right now in order to create the space of healing and movement, to not get frozen in place, to be able to keep moving forward, to keep reaching for the highest good. And because we have a lot of work to do, and people are gonna, not everybody's going this way. There's hatred and destruction and just downright meanness, and there's all the isms, and they're all real when people are actuating them. And it's it's not for me to judge that. And it's for me to say, okay, I hear you. That's where you are, but I'm here and I'm going to stay here
Mm.
because here is where I can connect with you.
Mm. Absolutely. I love that explanation. Thank you so much. I resonate so much with that. Um, I mean, I guess we could jump into, you said that there's a particular NDE that you like to share. Oh, well, you know what? Piggybacking off of that, you've been sober for 40 years, right? That's amazing. So me, I haven't had a drink in over 10 years now.
Wow.
Um, so that I feel helped me a lot with spiritual connection. Do you feel that? Because I know there's some people that can function in that light and still be pretty tapped in.
I
But
don't know about that.
why? I mean, I've known, like, for example, there's a well, some people don't consider, for example, like weed, right? They don't consider because it comes from the earth, so maybe that's a different kind of connection. But for the most part, me, I feel like I definitely get disconnected with any substance, right? Like it cuts my
Yeah.
connection. So for me, I guess I got so used to it that when it would go away, it kind of would scare me, right? Like, oh wait, what happened? So, for me, I've been able to function. I love being sober, in other words, right? I love being clear-minded because I live in that world anyways.
Right.
So for you, did you feel your connection get stronger as, or I mean, if you want to talk a little bit about your journey with
Sure.
sobriety and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I got clean off of everything.
Mm.
Um, the last my recovery birthday is July 11th, 1985.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know.
7-Eleven. No, that number always pops out to me. That's why I'm just like, of
Yeah,
course,
that is
7-Eleven.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is my actual clean date. And my journey up until, like, I had a lot of spiritual experiences. Like, I understand what you're saying when I was loaded. I did. But I also know that I was being guided from up above to get clean. And I was like, no, no, I don't want to hear that now, And that went on for many years,
Mm,
until it was actually a bad situation that I was more afraid of being homeless than I was about getting clean,
mm,
you know, which actually motivated me to get clean. But I agree with you. I think what happened when I got clean was that whatever was distracting me from a journey, a
mm,
concrete journey, was removed. So I was able to explore more. So I explored my religion of origin, which is Judaism, and I explored Catholicism. I just went and became a student of all things, paganism, all of it. I just wanted Hinduism. I became a what I call a Hindu um, in 1993,
oh wow.
which was like the combination of the of ancient teachings of Hinduism and Jewish. I can't change my soul. I was born into a Jewish family. There's a reason I was born into a Jewish family.
Mm,
I don't necessarily need to understand or know what that reason is. I just have to accept that that's part of my truth for this journey in this lifetime.
mm-hmm,
So as I explored different things, I would take things that made me feel alive,
mm,
that would make me feel connected. And it didn't have to be specifically one dimension. It was all dimensions. So I became a person who really lived in a interfaith way of life.
mm,
It wasn't one or the other. I did again, it's like the splitting. It's the whole idea, I really believe, is to learn to be one, to be unified as one people. We are all one race. We're the human race. That's our race. Whether we're Jewish or Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist or Benai, whatever it is, it doesn't matter the specifics. Those are all tenants, roadways up to the top of the mountain. The goal is to get to the top of the mountain. And so, yes, because I've been able to stay clean through it all, just learning to meditate again. Clean was a whole other experience. And
mm,
then I have finding my teacher in 1993. She taught me things that and took me places spiritually that I was at that point in my life unable to get there on my own.
mm,
The thing about getting loaded and stuff like that, we open up our chakras open wide. And I remember reading this thing Gandhi said many years ago. He said, "You just have to open the chakra once. You don't have to blow it open so it could never close."
mm.
So it was like, well, okay, but doing drugs, we blew it wide open. There was no closing.
Ah,
So it's kind of like, how do you find the middle again? And how do you stay humble and that we're all in the oneness?
mm,
And so recovery has aided me in that journey. no matter, because I do have 40 years plus clean
Mm-hmm.
and sober, but clean incorporates sober for me.
Mm.
Um, the journey has been amazing. I stood at my 40th birthday celebration and I was like, I did this for 40 years.
Wow.
40 years, one day at a time. I haven't used any mood or mind altering substances.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't look at it as 40 years. I looked at it one day at a time.
Mm.
And in the very beginning, it was an hour at a time or 10 minutes at a time. It's funny because I found my chip. I got two chips when I came into recovery. One was a 24-hour chip that said welcome, but it's like totally washed out. It's
Oh, wow.
40 years old. And then this was the other one, and it's a 10-minute chip. And what it said in the 10 minutes, there's nothing you can't do for 10 minutes.
Ah, I like that.
You know, nothing. So that was the beginning of the uptick of my journey in spirituality. I had to
Mm.
get off of it. I had to stay off of it.
Mm.
One thing is getting off of it, but the other thing is staying off of it and learning how to live life on life's terms without it.
Mm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
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 yeah. That's
yeah.
beautiful. Thank you.
Sure.
Um, so, in your bio it talks about helping with life transition. So is that similar to like being a death doula? Basically, it's like,
Yeah, before they ever had the term death doula or the study in University of Death Doulaism, whatever you want to call it, I, because of when I got clean and because of my lifestyle and my proclivity, I was very affected by HIV and AIDS.
oh
Uh,
wow.
and so when I was in my very early recovery, there were a lot of people dropping dead on the street,
Hmm.
literally.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was, I was, I was 27 years old when I got clean.
Wow.
I was young, and all my peers were dying.
Hmm.
And it was not just one or two; it was hundreds and hundreds of people.
Wow.
And living in San Francisco at the time, the hospital would send people home to die. They
Wow.
didn't want anybody dying of AIDS in the hospital
Hmm.
in the very early days. And it was ugly. It was a war zone. So what wound up happening was I've never been a man hater or a separatist or anything like that. I love all. I really do. I have a brother and a father. I wasn't getting rid of them. And or my friends or my old boyfriend or whatever. So what wound up happening is there was one, it started with this guy, David, who was in program with me. We got clean at the same time. And David was a big guy. He was like 180, 190 pounds, muscle, really svelte. And he was getting out of the hospital and he had no family, had rejected him. So I went to meet him at the hospital and he was just a bag of bones.
Hmm.
He must have weighed 80 pounds. Okay. So I had to carry him up 3 flights of stairs to his house. And I stayed with him and took care of him and fed him and did what I could do for him. And then there was the next person, then the next person, and the next
Wow.
person, and the next person, and the next person. And before you know it, all of a sudden I was being present, just loving people at the end of their time in their flesh.
Hmm.
And so that was one of my greatest teachers, was those experiences, to be able to distinguish between the flesh and the soul.
Hmm.
Okay. And so this was an awakening for me to have this shared experience of this love, this genuine love. Even though they were strangers, it didn't mean I couldn't love a stranger, meaning that they weren't an intimate in my life for many years. And that I had such caring and concern. And I was so angry at I was young. I was young enough to be angry.
Hmm.
I was angry at the system and I was angry at the government. And it was just a very ugly time. Every generation has their ugly time.
Hmm.
And that was my youth. And so I learned to the process of dying.
Hmm.
And so then I would get involved with people earlier on while they still had a little bit more time on the planet. And then I met my teacher, Ma Jaya Sati Bhagavati. And the reason why she became my teacher, well, she was Jewish, that was one, but was because I had hundreds of people I helped. She helped thousands.
Oh.
And when she did this one act, we were sitting what they call in Hinduism a darshan, where you sit in the presence of the master. And Ma was on her couch, and there were hundreds of people sitting in front of her. And this young man was wheeled into the tent. It was in a tent in West Hollywood. Wheeled into the tent. He was covered in KS lesions, those black and pussy. And Ma got up out of her couch, crossed the entire body, and she went and started hugging and kissing this child.
Mm.
And I looked at her and I said, "You're my teacher."
Mm.
Because I didn't, like in program, I didn't have to explain my motivation, how it made me feel, what it cost me, what it gave me. I didn't have to explain any of that. So I was able to learn how to transmute that experience into helping others. And I still do to this day. I'm there at a lot of, this year, both myself and my wife, we lost both of our mothers within 16 days of each other.
Mm.
My mom died on January 6th, and Joan's mom died on January 22nd.
Oh, wow, my condolences.
Yeah, but it's been a journey, like it's really different and I was with my father when he sent me home. He was, because I have the ability to communicate in altered consciousness, he telepathically communicated with me and said, "Okay, it's time for you and Joni to go home." Because he was in Las Vegas and we were there, and we drove home to LA, and there's this corner where I'm sitting right now. I used to call it my dead relatives corner because I got all my stuff from my relatives that passed. And I said,
Oh.
"Daddy, I'm home." And he passed 3 hours later.
Oh, wow.
So there was, and I teach soul communication. How do you meditate into your soul and deal with the departed or even incarnate people who are alive that you have some issues with? Let's say you have an issue with a parent or somebody, a sibling, whatever, and you can't really talk to them because they're not open to hearing you, right? So instead of beating a dead horse, I teach this meditation where you relax and let your soul out. And because the spark in our heart is our soul spark, it's our God spark. That's what gets the heart going, right? And then, but outside of us, all this area, all this space, that's our soul. Our soul is huge, it's infinite. So when we share time with people, even through Zoom, we can do it. Our souls meet and we create this whole other energetic field in our connection. Same thing happens in meetings, 12-step meetings. You go into that room, magic happens. You can't explain why you came in one way and you leave a different way because it's this energy that's a frequency that raises everything to a higher perspective. So it was like with the soul journey, I had been able to heal a lot of stuff with my parents, with my mother in particular. And I would say all these things I've needed to say for a lifetime to her. And then the next time I would talk to her, she would tell me the answers, without even me asking the questions. So that's part of what I teach now. And that is a gift. It's funny because I had all these experiences prior to my NDE, and then having the NDE in Holland really taught me how and why, if you will. And then with that, it gave me a level of, not zhuzh, so to speak, but this connected higher frequency that I'm able to tap into any time of any day, any place, anywhere, and transmute it out into people. And I do a lot of crystal bowl healing sessions with people. And what Source and Spirit has told me is that when I am actually doing the harmonies with the bowls and creating the different frequency sounds, that's my energetic field that's going into those bowls and being disseminated out into the air and the energy. It's really profound.
Yeah.
It's really profound. But all of it is what, in response to your question, it's really why I do it. And it's kind of like, do I want to do it one-on-one? I do, because I love people, but I rather be able to go into a room with a group of people and teach them as a whole what's going on and speak about this honestly, because we all need this information and we all need to practice it. Because the other belief system that I absolutely believe is the truth is that we are born with everything we need to know. We are born with access to the universe. Nobody is not able to access that. There's not a living being, whether it's a human being, an animal being, a plant being, whatever kind of being, an alien being, I don't know, whatever exists. And the thing is that life gets in the way. So we have to clear it. That's why we're lucky to be in 12 steps. If you're in a 12 step, I'm assuming that, and I might be wrong.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so you guys are wrong. So, but with that, it gives you a sequence of steps literally to take to align and remove. And then and then the scary part comes with letting out the other stuff and then letting it rise to the surface. And then the craziest part is to accept all the goodness of the universe coming back in. And that's what needs to be taught. It's not about entitlement. It's not about stealing it or there's enough for everybody. It's not yours or mine, it's ours. It's easy to, you know what I mean? You digest it easier as ours.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not like insecure.
No, I agree 100% that there's plenty for everybody. There's no, but yeah. See, that's the thing is I don't know if before we come here we put all this to pass these tests or if it's just opposite energies that, the whole yin and yang, that there's just energies that, that's their thing. They suppress, they want more, 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 more. And so we have to wake up to see, hey, why do we allow them to have this power, right? Why do we go ahead,
Well,
go ahead.
this is the construct that needs to shift. So can we reword this a little, just a little?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so instead of it being about control, what if it's about being a part of and allowing? So we're actually allowing something to occur. We're not getting in the way and interrupting it. When we cease to do interrupting behaviors, right? Now, there are people who will never go down this road. Never. We're seeing it actuate on a global level right now. In so many, it's not just the United States, it's all over the planet. It is really happening simultaneously. So do you choose to be a part of? Are people going to focus on the guns? Or are they going to focus on what's causing people to pick up the guns? Making guns illegal doesn't stop people from finding them and using them, right?
Yeah.
Well, if we address what is going on, what are you feeling threatened by? What pushes you past that point into action? No judgment, curiosity. If we stop judging and we're curious, we might learn something. We allow for a space we don't have to understand things. We have to accept them. I promise understanding comes in retrospect. You don't necessarily have to comprehend and understand it in the moment. So if we don't comprehend and understand it in the moment, then we get all tense and feel isolated and why don't I get this? What's wrong with me? When the what's wrong with me question starts surfacing, however that manifests, that's when you have to stop and take a step back and ask yourself these questions like, what is it that you're not understanding? Where are you in the spectrum? What is your belief in this situation? What is the kindest thing you can do right now? How do you get to be your highest self? Do you want to be your highest self? Because if you want it, what do you want here? Is not the goal freedom? Freedom from what? Freedom from our thinking? Freedom from other people's thinking? Really? The truth is, it's not the freedom from our thinking, it's our attachment to other people's thinking that gets
Mm,
us in trouble. So how do you unhook that? By owning the
mm,
truth, by seeing the differences and the similarities. When I used drugs, I did bad things. I'm not, I did.
mm,
I'm not good. I'm not willing to do that. I haven't done it for over 40 years. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't steal. I don't harm. I don't do any of that. I have a living amends to make. Part of
mm.
not using drugs is keeping me on that track. But am I to say that I'm not as dastardly as somebody else? Am I not capable of doing terrible things? If I deny that part of myself, I'm not being myself. Not that I'm identifying as that is who I put forward, but it is part of this life's experience.
Mm.
And because I have this, I have a choice. Many times people in these circumstances today, in the world today, don't have a choice. It's an automatic response.
Mm.
It's an automatic alignment. Well, it's not really that automatic. It's a choice.
Mm.
It may happen quick, it may happen unconscious, but it's still a choice. So the goal is to become conscious of choices, not beat ourselves up, not thrash ourselves, not punish ourselves. We punish others the way we punish ourselves, and nobody can punish us like we punish us. That
Yeah.
that has to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's not even a negotiation. That just has to stop. That's not real. We had this equinox. We're in the equinox today. We had this eclipse,
Oh,
and
today, yeah.
there's this whole thing that's happening these 3 days hasn't happened in 300 years.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, this alignment has not
Oh,
happened and it's not going to happen again for another 300 years.
wow. So what is the exact alignment that's
It was the moon with Venus and Saturn, and
mm.
the transition from Pisces into Virgo. So
Ah.
what does that mean? I'm not an astrologer. I have friends who are astrologers. I listen to their brilliance, but you can feel certain things.
Oh,
And it's,
yeah.
but the big question, Omar, the biggest question there is where's your ego in all of this?
Mm.
So part of this raising your consciousness and what I think near-death experiences give us, and I can't speak for everybody, but it's a place where we drop hopefully, our ego and our personality.
Mm.
And when we are void of personality, and in my near death, I wasn't totally, but I got there while I was in it. And when we open and drop that, we're open to everything. Because if we stay in our ego and our personality, that's a limited state of existence, whether you
Mm.
have a body or not. It's a limited state of existence, and you are choosing to not allow all that is in the universe to come to you, heal you, be with you, share with you, take you other places, help form you, reach the highest good, understand purpose of this lifetime, not get caught up in the minutia, have some peace and freedom. I spent 4.5 years while I lived in Europe interviewing Holocaust survivors and
Mm.
visiting concentration camps. And one of the things I thought I was doing was a comparative study to aids to the Holocaust. How do you survive large numbers of death? Well, the truth
Mm.
of the matter is, it wasn't about surviving large numbers of death. It was what I learned was how each person chooses to survive
Mm.
and how somebody lives in being in a concentration camp and being tortured and having to deal with that eventually, but having also the will to live. How do you have the will to live? What
Mm.
gives you that? You that's your relationship to the Almighty, whatever you want to call it. That's the will to live.
Mm.
When you give up, when you're tired, when world experiences, when the human experiences interfere with the soul experiences, and somebody surrenders in and says, I've had enough, I give up.
Yeah.
How many times? So it's a lot of answer to your question, but
No, no, thank you. I'm like hanging on to every word, so don't worry about it. Thank you so much
sure.
for sharing that. Well, I guess if I know I've put it off long enough, if you want to talk about the NDE.
Okay. Um, I was in film school and University in Amsterdam, and
Mm,
I was working on a film, and I was walking to a phone booth to call my girlfriend at the time to tell her that I was going to be late because I was with my teacher going over all my stuff from my film. When I went into this phone booth in Amsterdam, all of a sudden these two gruff hands reach into the phone booth and cover my eyes. And
wow.
they and I was like, first thought, oh, peekaboo. Second thought, I'm in Holland. Nobody knows me well enough to play peekaboo.
Mm,
Uh-oh. Elbow the guy. Grip breaks. Then there are two sets of hands on me. They pull me out of the phone booth. One kicks me to the ground, kicking my right hip through my rib cage.
oof.
The other one jumps on my chest and starts kicking me, beating my head into the cement. The whole time, this whole thing was being recorded on the phone because I had called and I sat up. I remember just like sitting up and pushing off and just going straight up. It was this thick, gooey, fog-like, very dense fog feeling. And I rose and I rose and I rose and I went into like darkness, like black.
Mm,
And this energy came and met me. And first, the energy that I was in was the most motherly, loving energy. And as a human, I never had that experience in this lifetime at that point. But then I knew on a cellular level, this was like the ultimate mother, the
mm,
ultimate mother. And then the voice came and it was male. And he said, go back in your body. And I did have some of my personality. And I said, what, the bleep? They're beating the bleep out of me down there. And I don't want to go back there.
mm,
And the response was silence. A deafening silence that was so loud and so thick. And I just went, uh-oh.
mm,
You know, when you know, you know. And I was like, okay. And I don't know what time, how much time is, because there's no time and space continuum there. And then the voice came back and said to me, go back in your body again. And I aligned with yes. There was no
mm,
there was no resistance, there was no nothing. It didn't I had in that silence it like wiped me.
mm.
And I got sucked back to earth.
Wow.
Landed in my body I must have gyrated off the ground and these three guys grabbed my attaché case and took off. Now, in my attaché case was all my documentary information I'd gotten about my subject matter.
Wow.
And I was pissed. And I couldn't walk. I mean, I was just busted up, right? I got up like Quasimodo, dragging my right leg.
Mm,
I walked back to my teacher's house. And he looked at me, he said, what happened? I said, you have to help me. They took my attaché case and everything from the film is in there. And he said, come, we'll go to the hospital, the Zika house and the police. I said, no, we have to find them. We have to find them now. And so I dragged myself down the street, the Bilderdijkstraat in Amsterdam, and I came to a smaller canal, and I saw one of the guys coming out of a house and jumping
wow.
on his bicycle. And I went up to him, and I said, you. I said, I want my attaché case with everything back in it. I said, I will find you and your friends, and I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And I said that in English and in Dutch. I said, begrijp mij, you understand me? Ik wil moord het jou. I will kill you. And I'm probably saying it wrong right now, but and then I collapsed. It's like my whole initial mission back on the planet was to connect and make sure. And I remember I went to the police station first and then to the hospital. And Jackie got home and she played the message and she heard the attack and she found me in the police station. She took me to the hospital. But I kept saying, my attaché case. They said, what does it look like? I said, it's purple snakeskin. And I need it. And sure enough, 3 days later, they found it.
Oh, wow.
Intact with everything in it.
Wow.
So, but the reality is that it would take me a while to heal physically, and I wouldn't really live in the space of the death experience, because I didn't call it near-death experience. I died. They beat me to death, and I got sent back. And this whole concept of near death is like, well, I think there was a period at the end of the sentence. I don't think it was a dash or a comma, So I always, I don't know who named it, but it doesn't matter. I wouldn't really remember the whole thing consciously until I came back to America in 1993. And and now mind you, I lived in Holland for 5 years, and there was no Oprah Winfrey in my world. And I came home and I put on the TV, which I didn't watch a lot of TV, and I said, James Van Praagh was on there, and he's a medium and a channel.
Oh.
And he was talking about near-death experiences, but he didn't say the words near-death experience. What he did was he described the experience. And I sat there, and my body started to like shake awake, shake. And all of a sudden it came flooding back into my mind. And so I've been unraveling it ever since. And the lessons that it taught me, like I said, you may not understand things in the moment, and you'll get it in retrospect, but you'll get everything you need because it's yours to have. It's not anybody there holding anything back from you. But what I did get was that feeling in that non-human divine love. That juicy, sticky place was amazing. And that's the boon, as they say in Hinduism, the gift of communicating with others and inseminating that sticky, gooey love. And to be able to really experience that, one has to be void of ego. You can't feel it like you can feel it, but you have too many things pushing it away. All the deflections we've developed to survive under the auspices of survival interrupt our spiritual experiences. And when somebody starts thinking they're the example, they're the reason, that's when I take a step back and I watch, because I get nervous feelings. And people I love are doing that, and it scares me because the service to God, Goddess, all there is a soul job, not a human job. And when you cross the line with it, it's one thing, you should get paid for your services, don't get me wrong. But when you make it the intent of your focus is to make money, well, then that's slippery waters that I won't go into. Not that I don't want to make money, don't get me wrong, I want to make money, but I want it to be divinely ordered.
Yeah.
Not at the cost of anyone else. Because if someone needs help, you can't say you have to pay me X amount of dollars and then I'll help you. That's like, no. So yeah, so what, being back since then and having these experiences and meeting other people who've had NDEs and being able to talk about the specifics, like how painful it was to be in my physical body again after not being in my physical body. That's no fun. That
Hmm.
wasn't good. Leaving because my head was being beaten into the ground. I mean, the grace of God is that I have some damages, but it's not as severe. I'm not paralyzed. I'm not in a wheelchair. I don't walk with canes and sticks. I have some back issues. Yes, I do, but I'm doing exercises now. I'm working to counterbalance it. Why? Because I have life, and
Hmm.
life is the greatest gift.
Hmm.
Whether it be with form or without form, life is life, and that is the juice.
Hmm. That was beautiful. No, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you said you had other experiences as well. We don't have to go into them if you don't want. I know you said this is the one you mostly talk about.
Yeah, I had one when I was 17-ish.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I had a drug overdose
Mm.
because I fell in love with a girl, and I didn't know what to do with myself because I knew it was wrong. See, this is what I'm
Mm.
talking about, right? And it's not wrong. I don't care here what love is love. Love is, however you need to learn intimacy for whatever reason, there's no need for justification or rationalization. But because I was so afraid of society's messages, I took like 750 barbiturates with a half a bottle of gin.
Oh,
And then I drove from Far Rockaway up to Westchester County, which is like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. In the middle of the night, passed out, was found, and was almost pronounced dead immediately, but couldn't find my heartbeat or my right. And I had no ID on me. They couldn't call my parents.
mm.
And then they 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 pronounced me dead. They tagged my toe. They put me on a slab in the morgue, and as they were about to wheel me in, I woke up.
Wow. Wow. And
And
from
go
go ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. No, no, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
When I woke up, I was under the sheet, and I always heard move to the brightest light, and I sat up to move to the light because I thought I was dead.
Oh, wow.
And the guy in the morgue was like, what the fuck is happening here?
Oh, wow.
And he was scared, and he was like, and I realized I was in trouble, which as a drug addict was a familiar place, the place of trouble.
Mm.
I couldn't talk. And I was groaning. I was like in a coma for 2 weeks or something. And I was
Oh.
groaning, and I rocked myself off the slab.
Mm.
And that was really, and I wound up calling it a friend of mine. May he rest in peace. And he played my parent,
Oh, wow.
and he got me out of there.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
And
So
from
it's
that,
like
oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. No, no,
after
go ahead.
that, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say from that experience, you don't remember anything from, no, not that one.
I think the drugs really wiped me out, and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was not able to transcend that fog
Mm.
that was in my flesh.
Oh,
Because I don't believe they pumped my stomach or anything.
oh, wow.
I don't know. I don't believe they did. I think hours had transpired since I took the drugs.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I mean, it's just like, it didn't stop me from getting loaded. It just stopped me from using chemicals.
No.
So as long as drugs grew in the ground, I did them, heroin, cocaine, marijuana,
Mm.
mushrooms. But I didn't do the barbiturates anymore.
No.
But that was 10 years before I got clean.
Mm. Absolutely. Wow. What an amazing journey. So let's talk a little bit about like as a medium, like what are some of the things that um like you've come across? Like what are like you can connect, for example, you can connect others with their relatives on the other side. Like has there been any, obviously it's probably personal to someone, but has there been anything that really stood out to you that that kind of stays with you, or let me word it this way, like maybe how you saw that it helped someone. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Why you would think it is important for sometimes, like sometimes when someone's grieving and they can't let go of the grief, why connecting them with their loved ones on the other side, you've seen that it helped them heal or something.
Well, it's actually the reverse
Oh,
for me, and not
okay,
for other people. For
okay.
me, it's more about the person who died and if they're having a
Mm,
problem transitioning.
mm,
Um, if somebody is grieving, grief takes a long time. It just does. But for the discarnate, some of them are confused. There's a lot of people dying from fentanyl overdoses.
mm.
And like there was this one woman 2 weeks ago, 20 years old. She decided to relapse and she went to get some meth. Now she didn't know that the meth was laced with fentanyl.
Oh,
And they found her about a half hour later and she was blue.
wow.
And when they told me about her being blue, I said there was fentanyl in it
Mm,
because fentanyl is just does these horrible things to the body and the heart.
mm.
And it's just horrible. I had another friend who was dying. He was dying, legitimately dying, having cancer, having all these things. And he decided to take the ball in his own hands and he killed himself.
Oh,
He hung himself and then he took drugs and he hung himself. And it was really bothering me. And so when I do mediumship work like that, I do it in a small group of friends who are all mediums. And um, and I work with Chuck, his name was Chuck. And when we found him, he was like hiding in a ball under a tree.
oh.
And everybody was talking to him and he was deflecting and being angry and spewing. And I just said, Chuck, it's Leigh. I love you.
Mm,
And I'm sorry that these wingnuts did this to you. I'm really, really sorry. And if I was there, I would have interrupted that. I just want you, since you're already there,
mm,
to find peace and love and joy and not suffer anymore. You
mm,
had so much suffering on this planet. And slowly it took about 15 minutes. Really, that's long. And he turned around and he thanked me. And then his grandmother appeared and helped him up and out.
mm,
That's what I do it for. That's how I do it. Um, to sit with people and talk, like I could sit with somebody, like I could sit with people and they can ask a question and I can hear the answer.
mm,
And sometimes I see the person who's there. I went to one of my friend's house this weekend and she has ghosts in her house. And I have all this ghost hunting equipment, but I didn't have it with me because we didn't know we were going, which is just a fad of mine, but I love it. It just makes me smile and giggle and laugh. And I went to the house and I wasn't sitting in the right position and I knew that. I needed to be sitting in the other side of the room. But I really didn't, was so tired from doing this, a singing bowl healing for 11 people that I just didn't have the wherewithal. So I went to half trance and I saw the woman and I described her. I asked her name. I got several names, so it could have been several people there, you know? And no hostility, no anger, no negativity, nothing. She came with the apartment.
mm,
And so I told Cindy that, and you know, my wife is also has intuitive abilities, and she said she felt them more in the vestibule than in the living room,
mm.
and they were very content.
Wow.
So there was no need for an exorcism or a removal. I have removed evil energies from spaces. That's something I have done. But really, truly, it's not about if there's a message from a discarnate, I'll get the message. I may not get who it is, but sometimes I do get who it is.
Mm,
But I don't like it's not like a sideshow kind of a thing. It's like I'm about soul retrieval. I'm about helping souls, whether they're in flesh or they're not in flesh, whether they're on this side of the veil or that side of the veil. It's about really um, bringing up the frequency.
mm.
And it's easier with a body than it is without.
Ah,
We have more ability to turn things around and heal with our flesh.
mm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I mean, I could keep asking you questions,
Go
but
ahead.
okay. Well, let me ask you this because this is kind of
Ask
some
me a
belief,
question you really want to
huh?
ask. Ask a question. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. Well, since you brought that up, like that's something I've experienced. Some people don't believe in it. And I'm almost thankful that if they don't believe in it, that means they must have never experienced it. So that's a good thing, right? But for example, like those darker energies, I've experienced them in dreams. I've experienced them in my waking state, right? I've seen entities. I've seen all that stuff. So, what do you feel those dark energies are, right? Like, well, people call demons and this and that. What do you think? Where do they come from? Are they are they spirits that just got stuck, or they're just spirits that have been here for a long, 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 long time, or how do you perceive them?
Well, I do think there's evil.
Okay.
Full stop. I'm Jewish. I don't believe in Satan. I really don't. But there's a lot of energy of people that do. And because
Mm.
people believe it, they create it.
Ah.
Okay? Is every dark spirit the devil or there no. But there are dark spirits that hurt people and
Mm.
are malicious. And so to do any of this work, one has to be grounded in the highest good. Have, like I was taught by my teachers, several of them, but similarly, that when I'm not afraid to walk into a space with dark energy, but I am protected.
Mm.
I don't walk in unprotected. I don't want people coming into my body. It's not open free, it's not free for all.
Mm.
So I will walk in with my guides in place and me wearing some kind of spiritual armor.
Mm.
And I will evoke, and it's also about what you evoke, invoke and evoke, both, meaning create the emotional, evoking, invoking, bringing forward. And for me, if I'm walking into a situation, I start with, I acknowledge and I affirm the infinite and unconditional love of God, Goddess, all there is,
Mm.
permeating the air in this place right here. I invite my unseen friends, and then I will name them, whoever I want to come forward. Sebastian is my number one guy. He's my guide. He
Mm.
and I do stuff together. Like people want sessions with Sebastian, which is a smart idea because he is not incarnate. He is a discarnate. He's been incarnate, but he's been all over.
Mm.
I call in Ma, I call in Baba, I call in my great grandmother. She seems to be with me a lot right now. And my grandma on my daddy's side has been with me a lot. These were very powerful women. They're all very powerful, but I am infused with love because I am human. I'm not supernatural. And I'm not here to antagonize anyone. And I have my divining rods to see, where spirit is, and they'll move.
Mm.
When their spirit here, this house, I get people running up and down the hall. I get animals running up and down the hall. It's bizarre. Like we'll do a channel. I do a lot more vocal channeling than mediumship. That's really what I do more. Mediumship is a really personal experience to me. I feel like sometimes, and this is no offense meant to anybody, that if somebody really has unfinished business with somebody and they are hurting and they can't move past it, then it's time to, have a conversation and try to
Mm,
bring spirit forward. And we can bring spirit forward. But I do it with more than one person a lot of the time. I don't usually do it one. I do it one on one with very close people to me. And that and one time I did it with my niece and her other grandmother, and she came through me and talked through me. But I knew
mm,
her in life, so
mm,
Sebastian allowed it. He's my gatekeeper. He will not allow evil in me. So that's first, I have to be in that place. And I recommend anybody dealing with dark arts. There are people that conjure negativity and evil because they do the dark arts.
mm,
That's what creates it. It takes a vortex, it takes an energetic field to create it or allow for it to be released into the space, which is a form of creation.
mm,
So if you're dreaming and it's not a visitation, because sometimes they're visitations, if it's a dreaming, it's representing a part of yourself. Not that you're evil or you're dark, but that there's some kind of imbalance or conflict or lack of harmony in a certain area, and it's being
mm,
represented by that.
mm,
I had a dream this week. I don't have nightmares very often, but I had one this week, and I'm dealing with a very deep issue.
mm.
And it came up and it woke me up. I mean, it woke me. I sat straight up and went, whoa.
Wow.
And I sat there and I said, okay, please. And I said this to Sebastian, I said, help me interpret this. And he said, he's got a Scottish brogue. He doesn't, well, I don't sound like him. He doesn't sound like me. And he said, you know the answer. And I
Mm,
was like, okay. So I just sat in it and I saw it. And all the questions I had had for the last 3 days prior to that got answered in that dream.
mm,
And it allowed me to have a choice.
mm,
I was no longer stuck.
mm,
And that's what the dreams can give us. If there's an area like that's a conflict and there's a one aspect of it which feels like it's a hurtful uh, aspect that could hurt you, then you sit back and you go, do I want to be hurt? Hopefully the answer is no. And then you sit back again and you say, what is the alternative?
mm.
And that will come. I do that a lot with clients, but that you could do that on your own. And my goal is to teach people how to do it on their own because they shouldn't have to have. I, of course, I love making money, but honey, I want you to be self-sufficient on your own.
Yeah.
Be able to answer this because I'm not always there, someone's not always there, and you need to be able to reach for your guides, your higher self. Do a lot of dialogue with your higher self.
Mm,
So many people don't even consider their higher selves as part of the equation. Big part of the equation.
mm. No, no, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. You can also have you connected with angels as well? Like,
I'm sure I'm surrounded by angels, but I'm not aware of angels like
oh,
that.
okay.
Um, my wife is. She's
Oh,
actually in touch with fairies. Fairies come around her. She's a fairy. When I met her, I hadn't even evolved to this level, and I said, "You're a fairy." Like it was that obvious. But I have friends who do that work,
okay.
and they want to teach me. And I said, okay, teach me. But it's like if I need to know it, I'll know it. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like when one of my goals is to get to Wales and Ireland and Scotland, and I feel like I'm going to have a fairy experience there, and that'll be a new level. But right now, there's so much that needs to be done on this level, whether they're spirits of fairies or spirits of incarnates or aliens or whatever. I'm still having telepathic communications. I just don't have the clarity of what their background is.
Absolutely. No, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe everything comes when it's supposed to.
yeah.
No, so I guess on that note, Leigh, if you want to talk a little bit about, the services you provide and how people can get a hold of you, and then I'll definitely put all the links in the description as well.
Okay. Um, well, I am a teacher of love and spirit. I am a teacher of divine love. And if you're in a need to grow and become more of who you were born to be, and you're working on removing what stands in your way, I can be your gal to help you with that. I also do crystal singing bowl healings. I do them one-on-one, but I do them in groups. I can do them through Zoom. There are different price points for different things. That takes a lot of energy. It's really intense. Like I do it, I actually do the bowls for like 35, 40 minutes, and then I sit in the space, and then I debrief with you. So it's like an hour session or whatever. That's big. That's because my focus is sound and frequency. And so I have a website, but I'm about to redo my website. I am a licensed certified life coach. I have veered away from that on a one-on-one basis. I'm here for people when they need it, but that's not my focus because that's an individual work job. I really want to be working with groups of people so we can create more and more vortexes of love. That's really important. And so I do all this healing work with people, and I teach joy and being in that space. And ask yourself the question, are you willing to go to any lengths for your highest good? And I do have a website,
Okay.
LeighGrode.com. You can always get in touch with me through there.
Okay.
Or
Perfect.
my email. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. I'll put all the links in the description. And yeah, no, thank you so much. It's an honor. No, I
Thank
love this conversation. I really, I hung on to every word. So thank you. We'll have to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for doing this, Omar. This is really a service, and it's just so delicious to be able to actually connect and speak truth, and not have to hide or, dumb it down, if you will. So
Absolutely.
thank you from the bottom of my heart.
No, thank you. And on that note, thank you to everybody that watched. And yeah, if please share your comments if you relate, if you resonate, anything. If you wanna get a hold of Leigh, obviously I'll put the links in the description. So thank you all.
Thanks.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One that gets away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.